Hey HBs! Welcome back to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap and review romance novels while being ridiculous and loving each other in your ear holes. This week, we have two pieces of business to get to. One, we have a big announcement. This week, our sponsor Bubbles and Books is doing a giveaway. Make sure to visit bubblesandbooks.com/bosoms. That's bubbles, A-N-D, books, with an S, .com/BOSOMS to enter to win a free month of quality me-time supplies, including a romance novel from the subgenre of your choice, as well as tons of high-quality bath supplies. Super exciting stuff, and we're going to announce the winner in the intro of next episode, so stay tuned. And next is our Patreon shout-out. Asha, you are a Greek muse, a goddess of literature, science, the arts, and in your case, so much more. You are the embodiment of inspiration, not just because of your positivity and supportiveness, but also because you lead by example. Whether it's a career accomplishment, a creative flair, or the way you overcome hardship, those around you can learn a huge amount if they pay attention. While you're not boastful, you're also not stingy with the details of your process. So anyone can improve themselves just by being a member of your Greek choir or positioning themselves in your close orbit. And it should go without saying that your taste is impeccable, but I'm gonna say it. You have impeccable taste. All right, we have got The Highlander Takes a Bride by Lynsay Sands, Part 2. You're going to find out who the murderer is. You're going to find out how he stealths her a second time. Here we go. Hi, Erin.
Hello, Melody.
How are you?
Pretty good. I'm shoving this baby bell cheese into my mouth.
Yeah, you are. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. So I'm pretty excited because when this episode drops, I will have officiated my friend's wedding.
Hello.
Yeah.
Reverend Melody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I am a Pastafarian minister.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult you.
Yeah. Well, so I got ordained by the Universal Life Church and the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Just to do it double?
Well, I did the Universal Life Church because that's what popped up at the beginning, and it didn't do anything wonky like call you a grand wizard, which gets awkward.
Yeah, you don't.
And I've heard happens with some churches. Gets awkward. But then I found out about the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, and I couldn't not.
Did you not already know about Pastafarians before you became?
I had no idea. No,
Really?
I'm a total poser. I'm doing it for the novelty because the bride, it made the bride happy. And frankly, anything that makes the bride happy is what I'm going to do. It made me happy too. So like double happiness.
Yeah. Pastafarians are trying very hard to get recognized in the military. That's a whole thing.
Oh.
And also, like, the driver's license situation. Do you know about that?
No.
So you're not allowed to wear a hat in your driver's license photo unless the hat is some kind of religious thing, like a turban or something like that, or yarmulke, you know. It's something you wear for your devoutness in your religion. And so Pastafarians were like, we have a religion, and we wear colanders on our head.
No.
To be Pastafarians, and we want to wear our holy spaghetti strainers in our driver's license photos, and they fought that battle and they won. I don't remember what state it was. Yeah, but they won that fight. Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
And when I say they, I mean you.
I am so proud.
Minister Melody. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
To be a part of the ministry of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster,
Yes.
I don't know. It just feels like I've reached a new height in my life. And I'm really excited to officiate this wedding. So I went on the cult and I was like, I think I found the dress. And everybody was like, you found the dress. It looks so good.
Of course
they were so
You
nice.
could have worn literally anything.
No,
and
those everyone just better be honest with me.
Honest, yes, but they would look at the picture through cult glasses, which is just love and friendship. And no matter what you wore, everyone would just be like, she looks amazing. We just love her. And that's what will happen if anyone posts any pictures on the cult of anything. So if you're just having a down day and you just want to post a picture of you looking shitty and just be like, how do I look? Everybody's going to say great. Because one time, remember, I think it was Kat C.
Yeah.
Posted something where she looked fantastic and I was going to post something back. And then I was like, oof, I just woke up and this is bad. And so I took a picture of myself and I was like, I was going to post a video. And then I realized this is what I'm working with. And everybody was like, look at your mermaid hair. And I was like, I look like death.
I look a little bit methy.
Oh, real methy that morning. Yep.
Yeah, I know. But there's so much excitement just regardless. Like, I've got this wedding. It's also giveaway week.
Oh!
Do you realize it's giveaway week?
Yeah, now yep.
Oh my God.
It's giveaway week.
Oh my God.
For Bubbles and Books.
Yeah, guys. Okay. I'm so excited because A, they rule. But then B, they don't want to just tell you that. They want to prove it to one lucky HB. So at the top of the episode, I mentioned a link. You need to go to that link. You need to sign up for this giveaway because next week we're going to announce the winner.
Oh, we get to announce it on the podcast? Oh, that's really cool. I'm excited.
So the winner gets a month subscription to Bubbles and Books for freezies. And remember, that is the combination of romance novels and fucking bath stuff. It's relaxation and reading, you guys.
Guys, next week's podcast is the week that you're going to want to be announced on. Oh, let's just say that.
Yeah. We got a surprise lined up for you, and it is the one and only.
Can I say?
Go ahead, Erin.
Chuck Tingle Week.
Chuck Tingle Week.
Yeah.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Gay Bigfoot, you definitely want to. Gay Bigfoot Doctor Attorney at Law, you definitely want to enter this giveaway so that you can be announced on that episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a space raptor butt invasion that's probably going to happen too.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
All those things, which frankly is, I think the only thing I might love more than that are baths.
Right, exactly.
So when you sign up for this this giveaway, the lucky winner gets you get to choose what genre you want. You can pick the Mystic box, which is paranormal, or the Swept Away box, which is all historical times, be it England or Highlander or Civil War or America times. You never know.
Yeah. Could be Sherlock Holmes times as well, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. Or you could choose the Bad Boy box with you can get steamy with a bad boy romance.
Those are all contemporaries.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So you're going to get a motorcycle or like a crime maybe or something or like that.
A billionaire.
Yeah. Maybe a billionaire.
Oh.
Yeah. But he's going to be bad sexually. Like good sexually, but like a bad boy.
He's going to smolder probs.
I can't believe I just said that he's going to be bad at sex. Ooh. No, that's not what I meant.
No, this is not real life.
No.
So then, in addition to that, you get a bath bomb. You get like some artisan soaps. It's all curated according to a theme. And then you get like bath or book accessories. So it shows up at your door. It's fucking happiness in a box.
Yes.
And in addition to the giveaway, if you don't win the giveaway, you can go buy or gift your subscription. And your first month, you get 20% off if you type in BOSOM20. BOSOM 20. Yeah.
Bubbles and Books.
Bubbles and Books. So it's all very exciting.
We got part 2 of the Highlander Takes a Ride by Lynsay Sands.
We do.
And I have to confess something.
What?
Part 1, I was pretty solid on. The characters, the things that were happening, the plot.
Okay.
Part 2.
Less?
Went a little downhill. Remember when I said I'm going to read the whole book this weekend because I've got this trial this week that needs my whole brain and I'm not going to be able to focus at all on the book this week?
Yeah, you told me on Sunday. You were like, I'm going to read it today anyway.
Yeah. So what happened that day was I read half of it, and that was the first half. And then I did that trial, and I didn't read any of the book on the days of that trial.
Yeah, fair. It was a big trial.
Fortunately, it was a shorter trial. It turned out I didn't expect it to be a short trial, but it was. And so I read the rest of it on Thursday and Friday, and like some was audible at 2x speed, some
with the accent.
It was rough, and I was just like, and also this is when the 7 brothers show up, so I was just like, who the fuck is these people? And like the accent, like everything was rough, and then like I herbsed a bunch. I was like, herbs, gotta get this done.
It's all right, I got you.
Yeah, so you may have to hold my hand and lead me through the hills of Highlander Times.
Take my hand, my darling. Here
we
go.
We lifted up our hands to each other. Okay.
So it's the morning after. She gives away her virginity in kind of a gross way.
Yeah.
Like it went uphill. Like it got better, you guys.
Transport yourself. Get swept away to the grossness of this first sex scene.
To her literally thinking he impaled her with a sword.
Ouch.
So next morning, she wakes up and he's not there. And she's like, ooh, maybe I'll touch myself. No, I want to go find him instead.
Yeah.
But nice man that he is, he's decided he's going to be all conscientious and awesome. He has ordered her a bath.
Mm-hmm.
Although we find out the way that he orders her a bath is the meanest thing ever. But that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It really is always the good with the bad with these two. So she has to hurry and cover up the blood spot on the bed because don't worry, she's a traditional virgin.
Yeah, even though she does a lot of horse riding, all astride.
Much horseback riding. Yeah.
And climbing and jumping and all kinds of stuff.
I feel like her hymen would be non-existent, but it's okay. So she bathes. And then he's worried about his squire because his squire is sick.
Yeah.
Except he wasn't worried enough to give the kid a day off or not make him sit outside her door wrapped in a blanket to make sure he heard her wake up so that he could run all the way down to the kitchens and alert the servants that she needed a bath.
Right.
That is how the bath happened, is that his sickly, feverish, tiny little squire had to post up in the drafty-ass castle hallway to just make sure. Okay.
Yep.
So then he's like, I'm going to dunk this kid in the loch.
He's got a fever. The water's freezing. Yeah. So let's put this kid in the loch. Usually this kid's pretty annoying, but
he's adorable when he's sick. I kind of was
on board with him for this because he was like, Millard,
you're trying to kill me.
I don't want to go into the cold water. I'm not feeling very well. I
should be abed.
Yeah. And Greer keeps being like, you're not very manly unless you jump in this loch right now. And the kid's like, fine. I'm fine with that. I don't want to do it. But as you guys know, when Greer wants to dunk somebody in cold, freezing water without their consent, he's going to do it. So
that's right.
He does.
Yeah.
And,
and then right after she has a bath and gets all pretty, Saidh gets the dessert that she wanted the night before so that she can be like, Fenella, here are the simple carbohydrates I'm distracting you with. Sniff, sniff.
This is one of the worst interrogations I've ever read, and I've read some pretty bad ones.
Me too.
It's pretty bad. Okay, so she goes up to talk to Fenella. Mm-hmm. She blows it. You might have to take over here, because what I remember is she blows it.
She does. That's actually my whole note. Is that the interrogation of the cousin doesn't go well.
Because that's how I have it too.
Yeah, basically she walks in and she's like, Fenella, I made your favorite dessert. And Fenella's like, oh my gosh, someone's being nice to me. What a day.
That's so nice that you made me a nice... It's so sad because there's this fleeting moment where she thinks she has a friend.
Yeah.
And then it's just, the whole thing is just dashed.
It's just not true. Well, first of all, the whole conversation starts with Fenella being like, where the fuck were you yesterday? You didn't check on me at all. And Saidd's like, well, if you'd come down from your room sometimes. That's her internal monologue, of course. So then she literally just says, so tell me about all your dead husbands. Just one more time.
Let's go through this once again. And she's like, okay, I guess. For my only truest friend, I will. So she does. I know what she does to fuck up everything. Yeah, so Saidh
she tells her about the feather.
Yeah, she's like, I'm just asking because Lady McDonald told me that she helped prepare your second dead husband after he died, when you couldn't do it because you're such a sissy loser.
Right.
And she found a goose feather.
And Fenella looks at her and she's like, oh no, not you too.
You think I murdered everybody? Why would you think that? And and Saidh is just kind of like, well,
doesn't look great.
And Fenella freaks out and is just like, get out of here. And she throws the dessert at her and she leaves.
I love the fact that she threw the baked goods.
Yeah. And then also, not only is the squire sick, but also Lady McDonald has taken ill. She didn't come down for breakfast that morning. So Saidh passes by Lady McDonald's room. She's such a fucking sociopath. And she's like, she knew that she should check on Lady McDonald after seeing Fenella, but she really wasn't in the mood. Since the lady had been kind to her and had even dragged herself from her sick bed to check on her last night when she'd screamed. And as Fenella had pointed out, she had been rude in not even opening the door for her. Of course, she hadn't been able to at the point. She'd been naked and pinned to the bed by Greer's large body. And
impaled
so she basically
by his sword.
Yeah. So she's like, ugh, I guess I'll go check on this old lady.
I have to be nice.
Yeah, she's such a bitch all the time.
So she checks on the lady. Lady finds out that the squire is sick. She gets real worried. They go check on the squire together. And that is where they are when the troubadours happen or something. And the people announce an arrival. No?
Right, but while she's in with Lady McDonald, I just wanted to point this out about Saidh.
Sure.
Lady McDonald says, ye could do worse than a man like Greer to husband, because she's kind of noticed maybe this romance budding between the two of them.
Yeah.
And Saidh's eyes widened incredulously. Oh, I mean, is he not already betrothed? Saidh asked weakly. She'd assumed he was. Most nobles were betrothed and when they were still in their swaddling or not long after. So this whole time, Saidh's thought there was an engagement between Greer and somebody else. Can we just mention that? The whole time, Saidh's been I'm sure I'm a mistress here. You're fine with that?
I don't think it's her responsibility.
That's fine.
It's his fucking betrothal.
I agree with that. But I just she's such a fucking lady. Saidh is such an honorable lady. And she apparently the whole time thought he had a ring on somebody else. Anyway.
Yeah, fair.
All right.
Fair. So then, all of a sudden,
the banners.
People, the Buchanans. Yeah. Well, so Greer realizes there's a whole other scene where Greer realizes they're coming. And so he tells somebody, go get the priest right now. You got to bring the priest.
Jesus.
And he's really surprised because he wasn't expecting them at midday. He was expecting them at the evening time at the earliest.
Uh-huh.
So she's standing in Alpin. Well, it's actually the master room. This is really sweet of Greer. He takes his little squire and he puts him up in his own bed and uses his bed as the sick bed for the 9-year-old. It's nice.
It's fine.
And then all of a sudden, these 7 gigantic men just bust in. And they're like, Saidh, we're here to save you. We're going to take you back to Buchanan. Don't worry about it. And she's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
I like it here. How did you know I was... What's happening? Save me from what? And they're like, we're going to kill him. And she's like, kill who? This is ridiculous. Basically, we found out.
God, you guys. This is how he stealthed her.
He stealthed her for marriage.
Yeah.
When he left the room, this motherfucker went and wrote a very hasty letter.
And explicit.
To her brothers.
Brothers.
I've ruined your baby sister. I'm probably fucking her right now. She's done been ruined, and I'm going to marry her. So you're welcome to come and witness the marriage.
Please give me your blessing.
Yes. And then he sent a writer off that night.
Yeah.
While they were fucking.
Yeah.
Without talking to her at all.
No talking to her about, hey, do you want to marry me? Is marrying me something you want to do? Would you like your 7 brothers to know that you had sex with me before marriage? Is that something you want to be out about you in the world?
He didn't ask whether she wanted his dick in her right now. He did not ask how she felt about marriage or public declarations of intent. There was nothing that happened with Greer.
Or again, public declarations of premarital fucking. which I think is a big deal back then.
Yeah.
There's no circumstance under which anyone says to me, do you mind if your 7 brothers know about this sexual thing about you? And I'm like, yes. I mean, I don't have 7 brothers, but like that answer is always no, I feel like, for most people. Yeah. Anyway.
So then this happens. Greer comes in. They're like, we're going to kill you. She is wrestling with them on the ground. She's fighting them off. They're trying to carry her away like cavemen. It's a whole thing. Lady McDonnell and Alpin, the squire, are both sitting there in just amused incredulity. Mm-hmm. So then finally she's just like, what is happening? Get off of me. Like, stop it. And Greer is like, oh, well, I told them that we're going to get married. And she's like, we're not getting married. We didn't talk about getting married. We just talked about having some fun times in the bedroom.
Yeah, and even that, not
barely.
Yeah, not quite enough for me.
So she's like, I'm
not marrying anybody.
Yeah, I'm not marrying anybody. I planned on being a spinster at Buchanan for the rest of my life. Are you telling me that I'm no longer welcome at my home? And they're like, no, of course not. You're always welcome. And he's like, you're not going to be a spinster. You're going to be here, married to me.
Yeah. And then the brothers are like, oh, you're ruined. So you're definitely going to get married. And she's like, oh, are you ruined?
It's
brothers?
The best conversation.
Hey, Alec, are you ruined? Hey, Conan or whatever.
Rory, are you ruined?
Are you ruined? Because I've seen you all fuck ladies. And she means that literally. Like, she has seen them do sex to ladies.
Just a minute. It says, because I've seen Erin one of you save Ollie, backing giggling maids into corners and tossing up their skirts at Buchanan. So why am I ruined for tossing up Greer's plaid? And Greer's like, she did not toss up my plaid.
But like, can we go back to like the casual mention that she's like seen her brothers like fuck?
No, there are super boundary issues in this family.
It's a problem,
but it's not like weird,
isn't it?
I mean,
is it not?
I feel like it was one of those situations where they were like in a barn, or like, you know, she was like passing by and may have seen
that the location at which you've seen each of your 7 brothers have
6. Sure.
But this isn't like a mistake, like, whoops, I walked in, sorry, I saw my brother having sex with a lady. All 6 of them. So this must happen with some frequency.
And also, how many maids do they have?
Yeah, I don't think that the location of it being in a barn matters.
I mean, I'm not saying the location matters. I'm just saying that I don't think that, you know, she's like sitting in the sewing room and they're entering the room in order to fuck in front of her. I think she's like, no, that would be on by.
That would be much weirder. Yeah.
Yeah. And then happens to see and then keeps moseying. You know what I mean?
I just don't know that that's...
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's always going to be
makes
weird.
It acceptable.
Yeah. No, there's a lot. There's later on, they have a very long-winded conversation about her duckies.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it here because I don't want to get too weird with you. But you have a brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just put yourself a little bit in her circumstance and you tell me if that doesn't scar you for life.
No, that would be weird. There are moments when my brother and his girlfriend are fairly PDA, like in a way that I have never been in any of my relationships.
Gross.
But it also weirds me out that like I'll be FaceTiming with him and like they'll just start cuddling.
What?
And I'm like, wait, why? No. Why is that happening?
Oh, that upsets me to my core.
No, it's not like bad. Like, because often she's already been talking to me too.
Uh-huh.
But it's just, but I'm saying that even that is a little bit like, huh. So if I saw him tossing up her skirt in the corner of anywhere, I don't know if I would be okay.
Oh, even if it was just a barn and you were just moseying?
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you.
I knew I'd get you to come around on this.
So, all right. So the whole conversation is, are you ruined? Like, and actually she goes even further than that. She's like, do you hate me that much that you would say that me doing this one thing fundamentally changes who I am as a person and what I deserve in this life? And they're like, no, of course not. And she's like, but everything you're telling me to do indicates that. Like it perfectly denotes that.
Right.
So maybe think about what you're saying. And then Greer saves the day because he's like, listen, lady, I don't want to marry you because I ruined you.
Oh, but she kind of makes him, though, say that. Because she's like, okay. He's like, I don't want to marry you because I ruined you. And she's like, all right, why then? Tell me in words. And he's like, ugh.
I know, he has a really hard time.
Don't make me do this. Like, ugh, I'm a terrible sociopath. Like,
and the best thing he can come up with is because she's a hard wench.
Yeah, because you're not Fenella. That's the reason. You're not gross like Millie the maid, and you're not a sissy like Fenella. You're the one I choose.
So she asks if he'll try to stop her from wearing braids and riding astride and cursing and using a sword. And he's like, no, I like you that way. And so she's like, you know what? Cool.
I can do worse.
We're going to get married then. And he's already called the priest. And the next scene is them at the wedding feast. And her bloody sheets from the night before are already displayed.
And she thinks her brothers kind of did it like tongue in cheek because usually, like, you know, it's kind of rare that the sheet's already out. Yeah. Gross.
Just amazing. So, all right. At the feast, they challenge him to a drinking contest, each in succession. She goes to bed. They tie antlers to his head and deposit him in their marital bed. And they're like, bye, hilarious. Yeah. We're so funny. So the next morning he wakes up and she's gone. She's gone to the loch and he decides to go there as well. And there is some great outdoor marriage consummation sex. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just reading a passage in which she saw Fenella at her wedding feast. She said her gaze slid to Fenella's door. Oh, it's when she's going up to bed.
No, they didn't tell Fenella they were getting married.
Right.
Nor did they invite her down to the feast.
Yeah. And that what a bitch. And the thing is, like, it reminded me that when they talked about over the dessert, remember when she made her the dessert?
Yeah.
Fenella had said, like, maybe my only way out of this is I could maybe try to marry Greer, and then I could stay here and have somewhere to live, and Greer's not bad, you know, and he probably wouldn't rape me, and he seems like a nice guy, and then Saidh just straight marries him, like, the next day.
No, the same day. It's the same day. Well, actually, thank you for bringing that up because I did forget. During their conversation, we also found out that Greer's first, his like right-hand dude, Fenella tells her that this first Bowie and Alan, her dead husband, used to be like the bestest of best friends.
So they were probably gay friends.
Oh,
who were gay for each other because now we know that Alan is gay. So
Indeed.
So that guy's name is Bowie.
Yeah.
Bowie.
So, yeah, she just looks at her door and then randomly thinks like, about Fenella.
Oh, yeah. Fenella was thinking that maybe her only way to survive in this world was to marry Greer. Maybe I should have invited her to the feast so that she could, I don't know, have dinner. She doesn't even think about that stuff. Here's what she thinks. She looks at her door. Said's smile faded. She had resolved little talking to her cousin. Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
And was still left wondering whether she killed all her husbands. It was a matter that she needed to put to rest, if only in her own mind. So she has no thought of like, I just married Greer. Man, that really fucks with Fenella. Or she's super mad at me because I insulted her. Or I should have invited her to my wedding. Or called her a
murderer.
Fenella invited to Saidh to all of her weddings.
Every single one.
And Saidh didn't go to the second, third, or fourth wedding because she was like,
to be fair, she didn't know about them.
Oh, yeah, because her brother didn't tell her or something. Yeah. But it's like Fenella invited you to her weddings far away. Fenella's in the same castle.
Can't do it. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So they go down to the loch and Greer sees her. She's swimming. And so he gets undressed. She looks at his chiseled Highlander body and he gets into the loch and then she feels his, this kind of grossed me out. I don't know why, but she felt his erection bobbing against her behind. And it was, I don't know, there's something about the word bobbing in any sexy situation that I'm just like, probably not though. Like, can we? decide not to.
Probably how that would be.
No, I hear that. I don't know. But it was just like, I was just like, no.
Yeah.
Well, also, I was sitting here going, oh God, no log sex. No log sex.
Not
Get out of the log. Get out of there.
No.
Do
it's
not
cold
do that.
in there.
Microbes.
Anyway. Yep.
No. So don't worry, guys. There's no log sex. He takes her up. He lays her down on the plaid. They're having some sexy fun times. She won't stop grabbing for his erection. And he's like, I don't want to spill my seed all over you and your round globes.
Oh,
and
God. Soft globe. You know what? Round globes is less weird to me. The soft globes is the weird because they seem mushy.
Yeah.
There's something about. Bleh.
Yeah,
anyway.
Totally. So anyway, they have some doggy style sex that she is not expecting but likes. And then that turns into her straddling him, them chest to chest, that kind of sexy times. And so they consummate the marriage finally. It's great. And then they're about to get back in the lock and they hear the horses spook a bit. And they're like, oh no, someone's here. Because let's review, they're right by a public lake. And they don't see anything.
Spot. It's their spot.
This is their spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't see anything.
Also,
he's like,
him and Millie's spot. Sorry.
So he's like, get some clothes on, woman. And she's like, you're naked with a sword in your hand, but she still puts some clothes on. And then she's like, I'm going to race you home. Bye. And gets dressed and races off before he even has time to pleat his plaid. How undignified.
I like how she rode off while he was like hastily pleading. Like, it's so hard to do.
It is. It is. And he only does it like halfway.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be all messed up when he gets back.
Can you imagine what it would be like to ride a horse in a kilt with no underpants?
I would not like to do that.
No.
I would not like to imagine.
No, and I have lady parts and I don't want to imagine that. But they did that a lot. Anyway, all right, moving on.
All right.
Did they though? Is there like a special Nancy? Could you guys
Nancy? Can you tell us about the
Is that how that was? Was it just like bare balls on the saddle?
Highlander horse riding?
I'm sure there are others of you out there that know about this. Highlander horse riding. Somebody tell us. Bare balls on the saddle, yay or no?
No bare balls.
Just aye or nay.
Right.
Okay.
So he's like racing after her, and then all of a sudden his stallion stops in the middle of the path. He almost goes over his He almost goes over his head, and then he looks down, and his new bride is on the ground with an arrow in her chest.
Specifically, her dark-winged ducky.
Oh, and it is not quacking right now.
No, it's like...
It is so limp.
Quack, quack,
it's
I'm
like
dying.
Wheezing. This poor ducky is just wheezing. So he puts her on his saddle, takes her to the castle.
This is where he swoops her in a way that no one knows how. He's like on his horse and somehow swoops an arm, an extendable Mrs. Incredible arm down and swoops her up on the horse. And the explanation given by the author is like, no one knew how he did it.
No. Just magically did it.
Least of all your reader. I have
Those
no clue.
Adrenalines.
Yeah.
So he makes a beeline for his room, and then he realizes that Alpin, the feverish virused child, is in that bed. But, you know, it's Highlander times. They don't know about viruses or infections. And so he just puts her in the bed right next to him. And Rory, one of her brothers, trained with their healer. And so he immediately strips her down. They start looking at this arrow. And I also need to bing boom bong chest wounds with melody ? Because I don't know where a thing goes into your boob, goes all the way out your back, and doesn't somehow hit a lung.
I think the idea was that it was at an angle from the front, so that it came out in the back, kind of in the shoulder blade area.
Okay.
Like that kind of situation. So that the real damage here is like shouldery muscles, I think.
Okay, so
do you understand what I'm saying?
Because I was like, she's got a sucking chest wound. Like that is.
I don't believe
dying.
that to be the case.
Right. No, of course
I believe
it
is a chest wound that is not sucking. Because it is plugged.
She's got, even with her bird bones, she's got those big giant tatas.
Yeah.
And so it could be just like a graze in the armpit region that hits a ducky and a back, maybe.
Yeah, because it just, her boobs are so big that the arrow just goes in and is just like into her boob. And
they're also miraculously healing, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So this is when not only is the 9-year-old having to pull himself together because he's seeing tits for the first time, but the brothers have a whole conversation about how well their sister has developed since last they saw her flat chest at 12 years old.
Since last they had sex in front of her, she's gotten boobs. I can't with these brothers. It's a lot.
They're like, it actually makes me really proud, like extra proud to call her sister. To know that she's got such nice duckies. I don't like it.
Meanwhile, she is unconscious and bleeding to death on the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least my brother had the wherewithal and the good reaction to be like, how dare you, Ocean? How dare you show me my sister's tit?
I forgot.
How dare you?
That was such an early episode, too. No one knows what we're talking about. No. Hey, one listener, you remember.
Spartacus.
Yeah, that was the Duke and I, right?
I think so, yeah. No, he was indignant with the sea. How dare you?
Whereas fast forward to 50 Shades of Grey, Christian Grey is like, shall I take you in the sea?
Ew, no. Never.
No. Shall.
Okay, so they're like trying to figure out why somebody would want to shoot her. And they're like, who is she pissed off? It's obviously this bitch's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of takes issue with that. It's actually cute because they all huddle around her bare-chested form in order to hold her in place so that they can push the arrow out.
Mm-hmm.
And they tend to her, and then she's unconscious for like 3 days.
Mm-hmm. But they've got to push the arrow out her back.
Yeah.
Which, like, one time I got my ears pierced at Claire's. I've had my ears pierced many times at Claire's because I would just let them grow back or they get infected or whatever. And one time the gun jammed and the particular, like the really sharp cubic zirconia that they use for the piercing times only got like halfway through my ear. And so the lady was like, and by lady, I mean, she was 16, but to me, she was a lady, I'm sure. Yeah. Like, I'm 11 or whatever, and she's like 17. So she's like, okay, there's like 2 ways we can do this. Either I pull this out and we do another hole and you're probably going to have like 1.5 holes, or like you're going to have one hole that's like extra big because of this mishap, or I can just shove it through manually. And I was like, shove it through, of course, is the answer to that.
You're the bravest.
I remember that hurting so bad. And I don't know if it was because I was so young or it genuinely hurt that bad, but I remember that hurting so bad. And that's all I could think about when they were like, the arrow's halfway through. We can't pull it out the way it came in.
No, it was poking out the back a tiny bit. They could see it. No, I can't.
How would that be like to poke it through her back skin and then pull the wood, the splintery...
Don't wanna. No.
Splintery wood through her whole body? Yeah. I was just like, woof. Glad this didn't happen to Fenella, because she would just be like,
everybody. They would have abandoned her. They would have been like, some servant will deal with this. Goodbye. Let it happen off screen.
Finally,
with her whales.
Some peace and fucking quiet around this castle. No more moping.
Oh my gosh. All right, so the boys decide, once she wakes up, that she's going to have a round-the-clock guard all the time. She hates this idea because she is a lady who can wield a sword. Even though she's been unconscious for 3 days, she can't quite walk yet, and she certainly can't lift a broadsword.
Or a 9-year-old boy. We'll get back to that.
Or that. Yep. So, Saidh drugs her brothers, the 2 brothers that are on duty, guard duty, and she and Alpin escape the room via the secret passages.
Secret passageways, you guys.
Oh my gosh. Saidh learns about the secret passages. Yeah. And it's actually really cute because Alpin tells her how he's like decided she's okay.
Yeah. Bing boom.
They have a really... Yeah.
So he comes around on her because he kind of realizes that these external things about being a lady or not being a lady really don't matter when you look at somebody's heart parts. And his parents were the epitome of good manners and gentlemanly and ladiness. However, they were really mean and abusive towards him behind closed doors.
And everyone else.
And maybe his dad never yelled at him or cursed at him, but he did physically abuse him a lot.
Yes.
So really, she is a lady by the definition that it should be because she's such a kind-hearted woman.
Mm-hmm.
Melody. Mm-hmm. In what world?
No 9-year-old can...
No, I'm saying this bitch is not a kind-hearted woman. She's so mean. She's so mean. If that's the standard by which we are going to define ladies in this book, Saidh isn't one.
Listen, he talked about a lot of good deeds that happened off the page.
Off page.
And you know what? It's not our thoughts that should be judged, Erin. It's our actions. And so nobody knows that she begrudgingly checked on Lady MacDonald. Yeah. All they know is that she did, in fact, check on her.
But I know that one of her actions is laying in bed when Fenella was getting raped. I'm sorry. If we're defined by our actions, her actions suck.
I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
Like clobbering her in the face with a log without asking permission first.
So, okay, as they finally get outside.
Okay.
No problem, no problem.
There's a lot of stairs involved. This is important. It takes a very long time. Alpin is very exhausted by the time they get outside.
Yeah, they're both weak and not okay. So they get outside, and then long story short, somebody pushes a part of the wall down in order to crush them.
Yeah.
And Alpin sees it just in time, pushes her out of the way, gets scraped all down his back, probably gets a crazy concussion.
Right.
And is totally unconscious.
This is not a good way to murder somebody, guys. If you're thinking about murdering somebody by pushing a boulder off of something, it's not going to work. It's never going to hit them. Just think of the aim there. You're not going to get them.
You could get seen.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be really, really obvious when you're the only person coming down the bell tower stairs.
Yeah, the thing is, they're probably not going to die. And then as soon as this happens, everybody's going to run upstairs and they're going to catch you. Do not try to murder. If you're at a castle and you need to do a murder, don't do it this way.
Not this way.
This has been Murder Times with Erin.
That's right. So then she has to get this unconscious 9-year-old, this muscly 9-year-old. Remember?
He's so
he is
dense.
Built like a 17-year-old.
He is.
She has to get him back into the place. So she takes off her dress and she pulls him on her dress. Meanwhile, while all of this is happening.
No, there's so many stairs in there and she's pulling him behind her. Can you imagine how much his head bounced off those stone stairs all the way down? Have you ever tried to pull like luggage downstairs because you're too lazy to lift it? And it's like, go, 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 go. That was a child. And there were so many stairs that both of them were exhausted and sweaty by the time they got outside.
I imagine that the kitchens were actually on the ground level. The kitchens were usually on the ground level. So she took the first entrance instead of trying to get him all the way up the stairs.
He punked that head on several stairs.
He did. So, okay. So meanwhile, Greer has been outside, taking in the lay of the land and doing some investigating. And they realize that somebody laid in wait, like literally laid on the ground in order to pop up and shoot her with an arrow when she rode by.
What a pointless chapter was that? Everybody could have done without that chapter. Everyone knew somebody shot her with an arrow. Duh.
Completely.
Great investigating, Greer.
So anyway, when they get back, they're like going to go check on her. They start looking around. They're crazy, worried. They find them in the kitchen. All is well. They pick them both up and take them upstairs. Everybody's really upset with her.
Head wound on the sick child.
So Saidh feels terrible because she sort of by proxy
put a child in a place to get murdered,
gravely injured a child.
Yeah. And when they say to Saidh, listen, you escaped your thing and went outside and you almost got murdered and you took a kid with you and that's irresponsible. You know what this bitch says? He totally wanted to go. It was his idea. It's not like I made him go. He's 9.
I mean, and Rory definitely takes her to task on that.
Yeah.
She thinks that Greer is also going to like come and scream at her.
Yeah, fair.
And what he does instead is
nice.
give her some of that good dick.
Good dickin'.
Good dickin'.
Like, I just feel like she's not well enough for this dickin'. Or to drag a 9-year-old down and upstairs. And like, I feel like this arrow wound should still be fresher. After
it should be super
3
fresh.
days.
It should be like bleeding again because when they're doing it, he does say, "I'm not going to lay you on the bed because you can't, like that would be hurty."
Yeah.
But I still think that her being on top of him is just as hurty with, trying to leverage with your arms.
I don't think she has to do
muscles.
that though, because she is hollow and doll sized. So he can probably just move her up and down. I think that's probably what the author wants us to think happened there.
Right. No, you're totally right. Okay. They chat it out and they're like, okay, somebody's definitely trying to kill you specifically.
Right.
And we should go talk to your brothers about it.
Right.
So as they're down there, Lady McDonald comes down and she's like, why don't you guys think about who would benefit from Saidh's death?
Mm-hmm.
And then Saidh gets her gears a turning. Mm-hmm. And then Greer's like, wife, you're awful quiet over there. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, that's because fucking Fenella, the one who never stops crying, she talked about wanting to marry you the other day.
Yeah, and you guys, she's a murderer.
No, she hasn't told him that yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So,
God.
It's amazing. So then they're all like, we're going to go find Fenella.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I'm going to deposit you in your old room so that we don't disturb Alpin, the gravely injured child, in our room. So he picks her up and she's like, I can walk. And he's like, oh, no, I know that. This is a really sweet section. Mm-hmm. Bear with me, Erin. Two sociopaths are being sweet.
I just hate him and her.
He says, I like having you up against me. And she's like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, why do you think I married you? And she goes, so you could tup me without my brothers killing you? And he goes, I'm the one who informed your brothers. And she says, more fool yeah. I never would have told them or demanded marriage from you.
Right.
And I would have just enjoyed you while I could and then gone about my business. And he's like, I know. You were going to fuck me and then abandon me. No wonder somebody's trying to kill you. It's really cute.
Which is cute. But also that conversation lets us learn that she never would have told her brothers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never would have told.
Nope. He's a monster.
So when he leaves the room after depositing her on the bed, Fenella comes out from underneath the bed because the poor dear heard all of them accusing her of being an absolute monster, murderous lady. And she ducked into the room thinking they would go to the master bedroom.
Right.
She comes out and she's like, oh, hi. Well, I heard all of that. And I didn't kill anybody except for the first guy.
You were there. You remember.
About.
Yeah.
So we really don't have to rehash that.
Right.
But basically,
she talks to Saidh and Saidh believes her.
Yeah. So she's like, you know what? Why don't you? Well, Fenella gets her. It actually kind of sucks because the author makes it seem like it's really manipulative on the part of Fenella.
It is not.
And it's not because she's just like, I'm going to have nowhere to go if Lady McDonald throws me out. And she's like, oh, no, you've got a place here always. And her whole inner monologue is her being like, well, I really can't tell her that I'll send her to Buchanan because my brothers will like kill me if they're saddled with her for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And I can't just make her into a milkmaid. So I guess I have to tell her.
I've got no choice
here. She can stay here. Anyway, and then Fenella's like, well, she's got me in a really, really gross room. This is a nice room. And Saidh's like, yeah, okay, fine.
Oh, fine. God, yeah,
Fenella,
fine.
Jesus, you can have this room.
We'll put you in the room that's not so stinky and full of rats. Fenella literally says, I think there are rats in the room. Is it possible to move to a room where it's not like this person murdered my son? Yeah. That's where I'm going to put her. And she's like, ugh, fine.
So she's like, why don't you take a nap? I'm going to go talk to my brothers and we'll figure out a plan. Like maybe we can put you under guard so that the next time somebody tries to murder me, they'll know exactly where you are and we can hear your name. And Fiona was like, great, I'm going to take a nap. So she goes outside and talks to the boys about it. She's like, I know exactly where Fenella is. I know that she didn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And the maid comes by and she's like, oh, have you found my lady? And she's like, yeah, she's up in my room sleeping. Why don't you go and tend to her or whatever you do? And then all of a sudden, a blood-curdling scream happens from upstairs. They go up. Well, and I think they go up because the scream sounds like it's not Fenella.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's 100% the maid screaming.
So they go up and they find Fenella stabbed in the bed.
In the neck.
In Saidh's bed. In the neck.
Dead.
Fenella has been murdered.
Refrigerated.
Oh, just refrigerated so hard.
Guys.
And it's a lot.
I know this isn't going to come as a surprise to anybody, but no one gives a shit that Fenella is dead, except that it's another clue.
No, they're all like, well, this person was accounted for.
Yeah.
And this person was accounted for. And this is where they're like, this person is obviously using the secret passages because nobody left or arrived via the door we could all see.
But guys, it's literally said in this moment where it's been seconds since they found her body. It's literally said, well, we know Fenella didn't do this one. And it's like, God. And it's also implied that it's like, wait, we can understand where people might want Saidh dead or Alan, the husband, dead, because they were like important people that people have emotions and feelings about. But Fenella didn't mean anything to anybody.
Right. Why would anybody want to kill Fenella?
No. Woof.
So they start going through the list of people who knew about the secret passages. Basically, the only two people who were not accounted for who know about them are Lady McDonnell, because she's a member of the family, and Bowie, because he was the first and also the old laird's boyfriend.
And Alpin, because this is where we get the conversation about how muscly Alpin is, because the idea is like, could a 9-year-old boy have done this? And they're like, you don't understand the biceps on this kid.
So they're like, go get Lady McDonnell and her reaction will tell us whether or not she did this.
Yeah.
So they go get her. She faints. She is appropriately shocked. And they're like, she didn't do this.
They use use poor Fenella's body just to like shock people with and be like, put it in front of this person, see what they do.
So then they bring Bowie in and Saidh's like, get my brothers out of here. He's not going to talk to them. Like, I know some things, la la la.
Yeah.
So this is when we find out a metric fuck ton. We find out that Lady McDonnell was maybe not as okay with her son's sexuality as she reported to be. Because Bowie's like, no, she was fine with it as long as she thought she was still going to have grandkids. But the moment that she realized that he actually had a boyfriend and that he was never going to bed his wife, she flipped the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he had apparently thrown a masquerade ball the night that he also, can I just say,
hard limit masquerade masks?
No.
Hard limit improbable plot points.
Also that, no, I just wish that it wasn't like the most stereotypically gay thing possible. And I'm saying with quotation marks.
She is using quotes.
Literally, it says he just loved feasts and celebrations like that. He just loved being the jubilant gay man. Like, fine.
But I mean, I really like feasts and celebrations. It's a fair interest.
I do too. It just felt, because of everything else that's been so like, be this kind of lady, or, you know, she sucks because of X, Y, and Z. It just felt contrived this circumstance for me. Okay. So anyway, Lady McDonnell caught them fucking with masks on the night he died.
Right.
And so she doesn't know that it was Bowie. Could have been any of the visitors.
Right.
Because he like had a disguise on and he sooted his hair so that it was a different color and it was a whole thing. So they're naked with masks on. She flips the fuck out. She's like, you need to give me grandchildren. And he's like, I'm laird of this castle. And if you don't shape up, I'm going to ship you out.
Yeah.
And Bowie fled, and then he never heard from him again, and then he was dead the next morning.
Right.
So they're like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
I did love that when Bowie was like, all right, well, I guess I'll be out of your sight then, and I'll never lay a foot on your property again.
I'll just go get burned by the church at the stake.
Yeah,
I'll just sulk off and wait for my burning.
Right. And they're both like, we don't give a shit who you love or fuck. Like, you're good at your job. You stay.
Yeah,
what are you
that's
doing?
fine.
You know,
Stick around.
I liked it.
Yeah.
So then he and Saidh have a little heart to heart. And Saidh is like, yeah, it's really weird because, you know, Lady McDonald even told me about the 3 of her babies that died.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Saidh,
no,
she's only had 1 child, and that was Alan. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, except that her sister, who was married to her husband before her, had 3 bears that she was nursemaid to.
And guess how they died?
And then died before they turned 1 under mysterious circumstances.
With a smotherness. Yeah.
And then her sister supposedly threw herself off of a Scottish cliff because of all of the tragedy that had befallen her. So they're both like, hold on.
Which, she may not have killed that sister. I mean, that's a lot of tragedy. Who knows?
No. They talk about it later. She's like, you mean how you killed your 3 kids?
Oh, yeah. And your
the
sister.
3 kids.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then also your sister.
I'm just saying that may have just been a fair suicide.
No, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Anyway, she could have waited that one out. That may have happened anyway.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, well, I think we cracked the case. I think we got to go find Lady McDonald. And wait, can I just bing boom bong capital L ladies with melody?
Again?
Well, because here's my thing. Not only is she a capital L lady, right? And they're only taught certain things in normal circumstances. But she's also like a partially petrified capital L lady.
Who,
this
McDonald?
Lady is old as fuck. Yes.
Yes.
When was she taught to bow and arrow people?
Or
anything.
Right?
When did she get the proficiency to do it while the target is moving at high speeds?
At high speeds. Like, she was racing him back.
Racing.
Yeah.
How did Lady McDonald lay down on her tummy parts and then pop up in time and then aim at a moving target?
I had
just
this
don't understand.
worry, but I was going so fast in the Scottish 2 times as fast at the end of this book that I was like, I clearly missed where she hired somebody to do this. I was sure.
Yeah, they
so
must
she
have
personally
explained
did
it.
all these murders?
Apparently.
She drowned her son personally?
Oh, yeah, I'll get to it.
I was just sure. I herbed so much that I was just like, she definitely hired a hitman, but I don't have time to go back.
No, which is ironic because there are herbs involved in her son's death.
Yeah. I knew that, but I didn't think she was the one out in the walk. Okay.
No.
Sorry. Moving on. Okay, hold my hand. Take me through the Highlands.
Here we go.
All right.
The Highlander intrigue. So, here's what happens. They put her in the room with Alpin because they're like, we got to find this murderous wench. And also, like, they put her in a room that is one of the main entrances to the secret passages that the murderer has been using the whole time.
Yes.
So what about that makes sense to you?
Nothing about it.
Like, put her in the Great Hall.
Yeah.
Like, be logical about this.
I just want to point out, Melody loved this book.
I did. I really
enjoyed it.
But
you have all of the same complaints about it that I do.
No, it was just so... I really liked it. I really liked the reading
Scottish
experience.
Accents. That's what you
I
like.
think you can get away with a lot.
I don't think you liked this book. I think you liked the accent of the narrator.
I don't know if I liked this book, but I really fucking enjoyed it.
Okay, fair. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not.
Right, sure. So they put her in this room, and Lady McDonald clubs a brother over the head. She's already clubbed the other brother, because remember, there's always got to be 2. And then she puts a knife up to young Alpin's throat, because he's been sedated, but only enough. Like, he's not sedated to the point of unconsciousness. He can still walk around. He's just apparently a zombie of some sort. So she's got her knife to her throat, and she's like, lass, you're going to get a torch, and you're going to get into that passageway with me. And this is where we get our villain monologue. She's like, I wanted to murder you because you're not a good lady.
Yeah.
You curse too much, and you wear breeches, and I hate that.
And Saidh's like, I thought you liked me. And she's like, I do.
I do like you.
Yeah.
But she's like the ultimate sociopath, Lady McDonald. So she's like, I wanted to kill you so that I could find Greer a suitable wife.
Right.
And then if he doesn't want to get in line, I'll just kill him too. And then help the next person to the title.
And she also, part of it was like she heard her like crying out in ecstasy in the room, right?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't like that she likes to fuck.
Yeah. Doesn't like that.
She says that good ladies, suffer their husband's attentions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she says that she was just as bad as her whore of a sister because she liked fucking too, and how dare she?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, she's poking her in the back with this knife.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime she stops moving or asks a question, poke, poke.
Right.
She gets her all the way up to the bell tower. We find out that she did, in fact, kill her sister and all of the nieces. She did find Alan. And then what happened with Alan is that he was like, I'm going to put you out to pasture if you don't shut the fuck up.
Right.
And she was like, I'm going to put herbs in your wine. And it's going to be the similar kind of herbs that don't make you go to sleep. It just makes you very suggestible.
Sure.
And it makes you very docile. Mm-hmm. And so she herbsed him. Mm-hmm. And then she took him out through the secret passageways because the passageways have an entrance that comes out by the lock. Mm-hmm. And then she stripped him down like a good mother should.
Weird.
I know, right? And then takes him out into the lock. And then she said that he barely struggled. She just had to hold his head underwater. And he was so herbsed that he just went with it to his death. And then she went back and she slept like a baby because her job was done. And he'd always been a disappointment.
She's like 80, you guys. She's so
so old. Well, I mean, in Highlander times, people only lived till they were like 50 or something.
She's like 50, you guys. She's
like
so old,
though. And like no medicines, you know?
No.
So, okay. Then they're in the bell tower. Oh, wait. Well, yeah, fuck it. So they're in the bell tower. I remembered a pivotal romantic thing, but basically Greer tells her that he loves her and that's why he wants to protect her a while ago.
Oh, yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. So officially, the score is Greer has said, I love you.
Yeah.
Saidh has said nothing back.
I love you.
That's the score between them.
One for Greer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silence for Saidh. All right. So they're in the bell tower and she's been poking her with this knife. And Saidh is continuing the villain monologue because she's just hoping somebody's going to find them. Mm-hmm. And then they do find them.
Yep.
Greer shows up with Ollie and Conran and Rory. No, Rory's, nobody cares. There are so many
Some
of them.
those brothers are up there.
That's right. And they restrain the McDonnell woman.
Not hard.
And
crazy old frail woman.
And they also don't restrain her enough.
Yeah,
because they just take their eyes off her for a moment and she throws herself off the bell tower to her death because she wants to be in charge of her death. And I understand that.
Yeah, I get that.
You know?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to hang. Fuck that. All right. So this book ends with Saidh in a bed because she's been stabbed a few times again. Mm-hmm. And Greer pacing and feeling terrible. And her brothers talk her through her feelings because she's like, I mean, he said, I love you. And they're like, did you crickets him? Or did you say something back? And she's like, no, I straight crickets him.
Because I'm terrible. You guys know me. I'm the worst.
So they're like, all right, tell me how you feel about him. And she's like, well, I trust him. I know I can rely on him. I really like his bed. And I think he's really smart. And they're like, dude, newsflash, you love him. Mm-hmm. That's Highland Times love. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. You respect your husband and you don't mind his penis.
Right.
Highland Times love.
That's Highlander Times love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of now times love as well.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot
fair.
of times that's what love is. Love. Right.
Yeah.
So they leave the room. He comes over and he's like, all right, when are they taking you? And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I'm obviously the worst husband in the world and I can't protect you. And so when are they taking you back to Buchanan so I'll never see you again?
Aww.
And she's like, no, dummy. Like, oh, actually, I do love this. I didn't quite explain it well, but they're like, she's like, no, they asked me if I love you. And he's like, okay. And what did you say? She's like, oh, well, I told them that I wouldn't save you in a fire and like something else that is atrocious. And he's like, okay, so when are you leaving? Because obviously I suck.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I wouldn't save you in a fire because you would save me first. And this other thing that sounds horrible is actually kind of nice.
No, that's like, not cute.
Oh, wife.
Like, no. Okay, Melody, straight up.
Adorable.
No, it's not adorable, though. Objectively, straight up,
no,
Melody,
it's not adorable.
Would you save Michael in a fire?
Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
Unless he saved me first.
The answer is yes.
And actually, I would save Ember first.
But also, the question presupposes that you're not already saved by the person.
No,
that's a presupposition for that question, is that you're not already being saved. Mm-hmm. Jesus.
It's so good. So anyway, she finally says that she loves him. He's fine. Head over heels. So excited.
Whatever. They deserve each other.
They're going to have so many bekilted babies.
No one's even prepared Fenella's body for burial. Like, there's no funeral. There's no, like, you know how at the end of these, there's usually a nod to
I don't even think they called the priest.
Yeah, no. Jesus. Usually at the end of these, there's at least a nod to, like, and we were all so sad about Fenella. But no.
No, they just live happily ever after. Yep. It makes me really happy.
Yep. And that corpse just rots away in that room. They just seal it up and they forget about her forever.
Mm-hmm. No, they just throw her out and think that the wolves will get her. I'm sure there were still wolves in Scotland at that point.
Wolves.
So I really like this book.
Oh, God. You guys, this was a
problematic.
Stinker.
And there were problems, but I enjoyed it from start to finish.
This is a stinker. I'm sorry.
I did. I recommend the Audible. You will not notice a lot, or you will forgive a lot.
Or if you listen to it at 2 times the speed, you will not notice a lot.
Miss a lot.
Like who did the murders.
It's so true. You know what? I really enjoyed this. I'm not going to return the Audible. I'm going to keep it. It's going to be mine forever.
The only way I would have enjoyed this book is if Fenella or Millie were the murderer. # justice for Fenella, # justice for Millie. Because then I would have felt like...
personhood for Millie.
Anything. Anything.
I would like Millie to have literally anything.
Or Fenella.
Other than...
Because as much as Millie was a sex cardboard cutout, Fenella was just a
grief cardboard
grief
cutout.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not even... We shouldn't even say grief. It's just like moping.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, they wouldn't even give her grief.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
The word grieving never appears in this book. Like, no. Fenella is grieving. It's like Fenella's a bitch. That's the whole thing.
Fenella is super annoying.
Oh.
Yeah, this thing was great. 2 sociopaths fall in love.
Woof.
I really enjoyed it.
Woof.
Erin, do you have a lady love?
Oh, if you give me a sec, I'll think of something.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
I have one.
Melody.
My lady love has to do with Ember being across the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're 1 week in as of this recording. Actually, by the time this recording reaches listeners, we will be 2 weeks in and he will almost be home. But my lady love is allow yourself to feel good about things society tells you maybe you shouldn't feel great about.
Like your child being away from you?
Yeah, like I am acknowledging the fact that one of the reasons our recording hiccup last week was totally okay was because I wasn't also juggling trying to deal with a toddler while dealing with the last minute editing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to take a nap on Friday right after my day job was over. Like, I've just been able to do way more things that are just for me or productive for our household still. But like, I have a hair mask in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't reliably say that I'll be able to shower at some point or that I'll want to shower if I'm like super fucking tired right before bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I can right now reliably say I will totally be able to A, have time to wash this hair mask out,
yes,
and B, have the bandwidth to make it happen. So yes, it's still a little hard. I get pictures and videos, and you know, it's hard when we're FaceTiming and he says, he like points at the FaceTime and he's like, I want to go to mama's house. And like my heart kind of just leaks out of all of my pores.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also really nice to have this break. And I am not going to feel bad about that. God damn it. I know I'm in a really privileged position because I trust my mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
We have the money to send him to Taiwan to have this amazing experience with his great-grandmother. And it's what's best for him. And I'm good with just celebrating my current kidlessness. So that's my fucking lady love. Even if you think people will tell you you might be a little bit of a bad mom, just tell them to fuck themselves and be okay with your decisions. So there.
I am also celebrating my lack of children just on a daily basis, all day, every day.
Right.
Just a big celebration over here.
Uh-huh.
But I don't have one, so no one really judges me for it. I think my lady love is going to be super basic, but
I'm into it.
Yeah. I think I'm going to say soup.
Soup. I have a question. Were you eating soup or ice cream throughout this recording?
Oh, that was Baby Bell cheeses. During the last one, I had a yogurt.
Oh, okay.
I had a Greek yogurt, a 000, as we call it at Weight Watchers.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a 0-point yogurt. It's very good.
Oh, neat.
And then I had 2 Baby Bell cheeses.
Yum.
But
all right, sorry. I didn't mean to interrogate you about your food.
But man, it's finally soup season, and I love a soup.
I love a stew.
Yeah, I like a stew, too.
I just made chili this week. Oh, I love my chili.
I made spinach soup this week. Spicy chipotle spinach soup.
Ooh.
And it's very, very good. And it's got some crusty breads, and I might go eat some now.
Yum.
Yeah, soups.
Yay. Soups. I like it. No, it's definitely soup season, and it makes me the happiest.
Yeah.
I've also got this this spicy lentil turkey sausage kale stew.
Yeah.
It's like instant potable.
It's good.
Good God. It is so yummy. Yeah.
You know, we've gotten a couple questions for maybe doing like a bonus episode about our favorite recipes.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Okay. I can also post all of the recipes on the Patreon page.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that now. We'll do that.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Do that this
send
week.
me your recipes.
I will.
And I will post them for listeners.
Okay.
All right. I love you the most. The tonses.
I love you too. You can find us at Heaving Bosoms Podcast on Facebook, Heaving Bosoms Podcast Geriatric Friendship Cult on Facebook, Heaving_Bosoms on Twitter, Heaving Bosoms on Instagram, and heavingbosoms@gmail.com to send us emails about whether we pronounced Harry Potter correctly.
Yeah.
Or was that the last one? I don't even remember.
Bellatrix.
Bellatrix. That is not correct. All right.
All right. Love you tons, and I will chat with you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.